Good morning, Hillsiders and friends. Reverend Tom here with licensed pastor Tassie Farwell. Good to be with you. Miss you all in person. It's been really nice to see a lot of you participate in our online stuff. So I think we're keeping the community afloat. So we'll just be doing our regular service, and there's not really any huge new announcements, so I'll just leave that for coffee hour and we can chat and touch base. Coffee hour will be at 11:30, and you should have the link. If you didn't, let me know. And let's just begin with entering into a centering moment, perhaps closing our eyes or focusing on something in the room. Maybe there's something meaningful in your room. Maybe there's an open word, or you've lit a candle. Maybe there's a piece of art. Maybe it's just a bland room. Let's simply be present where we are. Let's take some deep breaths. Let's observe the state that we're in without attaching to it, identifying to it. Let's observe our mind. Non-judgmentally, without identification. Let's observe our body, how it's feeling. Without judgment or identification. And as we enter into the state of the Holy Watcher, let's focus on he, she, they who observe. Our spiritual selves. Not our minds, not our bodies. Let's identify with our spirit. And regardless of any physical, temporal, spatial distance, let's enter into spiritual community with each other. Let's be present with each other's spirits. Let's be present with the open word that we are all facing spiritually. And let's receive today's readings and reflections and thoughts with our spiritual self. With that, we will move into the first chunk of our readings. first reading is Proverbs 2, verses 2 through 11. Moral benefits of wisdom. If you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless. For he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones. Then you will understand what is right and just and fair, every good path. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you.
Thank you, Tom. And now we have Proverbs 3. Wisdom bestows well-being. Do not forget my teaching, but keep my commands in your heart, for they will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine.
Let's spend a moment silently receiving these readings.
Well, again, welcome to Hillside. Welcome this morning. Happy Valentine's Day and Chunje Kwaila. Happy Lunar New Year. It's time to celebrate that love and spring and new life are really on their way. It was about seven years ago, I had the pleasure to officiate at my niece's wedding. In my marriage message to Shannon and Brandon, who now have 2 beautiful children, I advised them to avoid any major home remodeling before their 5th anniversary, because housing remodels can test a relationship, particularly in the early years. Now, for those of you who may have joined our virtual coffee hour in the past few weeks, month or so, you may recall my need to make a quick exit to attend yet another demo day. Yes, Roy and I are in the midst of some major home redevelopment, but after about 28 years of marriage, I'm confident that my dear Valentine and I can withstand the trials and chaos that inevitably exist and evolve under these circumstances. And I'm also doing my best to frequently remind myself that this evolution of chaos will eventually, in some degree, be order. Now, from whence cometh this confidence, you ask, and rightly so? Well, I look to the Lord, and Tom will share a reading from Hebrews 10.
This is from Hebrews 10, excuse me, verses 35 through 39. So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere, so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what he has promised. For in just a little while, he who is coming will come and will not delay. But my righteousness one will live forever. But my righteous one will live by faith. And I take no pleasure in the one who shrinks back. But we do not belong to those who shrink back and are destroyed, but to those who have faith and are saved.
Thank you, Tom. So at first, when we started this project, I figured that asking the Lord for guidance in a home remodeling project was a little, frivolous. It's material stuff, after all. It's not like I'm seeking help for spiritual intervention. Or am I? A few weeks ago, while attending the Licensed Pastor's Winter Intensive that was organized by Reverends Jim Lawrence and Devin Zuber, it occurred to me that this process I was going through, this process of home remodeling, could be analogous to personal reformation and regeneration. And the very acknowledgement of that, being conscious of it, really has helped me view my own efforts along the process of reformation and regeneration. So let me explain. First, as in personal repentance, I needed to acknowledge and define the issue that wanted attention. Well, for me, this began with our source of nourishment, the kitchen. In dire need of new cabinets, new appliances, and a new floor. I could go on about how fixing one room sort of metastasizes into the full downstairs, but for the sake of time and your patience, I will confine my comments to the kitchen. Which is often, the kitchen is often the source of physical and mental and even spiritual security. Knowing that change was necessary was easily established, no problem there. But deciding how to change, the extent of the change, and what was to be the replacement, that was difficult. We needed a new floor, a new foundation, and a new design to store what we valued. At the same time, we still need to examine what we're holding on to. Could some of our old ways be released? Could we liberate some of the old stuff that's found deep in the back of the cabinets? What is it that we truly value? I noticed that these questions were similar to those that I would say when I took a good look at myself in the mirror. Is my own foundation solid? Am I guarding old thoughts or grievances that may be holding me back? What temptations are suppressing my own progress towards regeneration? Do my actions reflect the core values to love the Lord and my neighbors? As Jesus admonished the Pharisees in Matthew 23, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside will be clean. And in Proverbs 23, by wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. Well, working on this house continues to provide ample opportunities for me to practice my nemesis, patience. Plans encounter delays, products are returned, plumbers are called in for unexpected issues with pipes and gas lines, and I keep an extra bottle of Tums available along with the supply of heavy-duty Band-Aids. So, patience and perseverance. Swedenborg reminds us that the greater the temptations we may confront, the greater the evils we may encounter that work their wily ways to separate us from our progress. Our dedication is tested, but we can call on the Lord for guidance, strength, and forbearance against all that pushback. Whether it's my literal house or my spiritual house, this process is not linear, and I do call upon the Lord to provide me with the vigilance, diligence, discipline, and patience that will help me get through this. I call upon the Lord to guide my choices, to supply me with the wisdom to make healthy decisions that will generate order out of the current chaos. In Secrets of Heaven 842, Swedenborg writes that before being reduced to order, it's very common for everything to fall into confusion or seeming chaos. This allows things that cling together poorly to separate. And when they have separated, the Lord arranges them in their place. Nature offers parallels, since in it too, each and everything first falls into some degree of disorder before being put in order. If the skies didn't storm, causing unlike elements to scatter, the air would never clear, destructive forces would amass, and wreak havoc. It's the same with a person who is regenerating. So this week, if disorder and confusion surround you, take a moment to consider the benefits as the Lord leads us towards clarity, truth, love, and wisdom. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tassie,
Thank
for
you.
that reflection, and I hope we can continue the conversation at 11:30. Love to hear your takes or experiences or maybe resolutions of spiritual remodeling. So looking forward to that. Hope to see you in just a little while. And before we wrap up this part of our gathering this morning, let's once again center ourselves. Once again, observe our body, observe our mind. Let's once again receive with our spirit what we've heard today. Let's again enter into conscious spiritual union with each other. Let's acknowledge each other lovingly. And let's now raise all that each of us brings into the new week up to the Holy One. All the thoughts, all the physical concerns, let's acknowledge them without identifying. And open ourselves up to the inflow of the divine within us. And let's ask the Holy One to radiate through us as we spend this week blessing each other. Amen. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
And hope to see you in just a little bit for coffee hour.
Bye-bye.
Peace and power.